Welcome to the last half of the day. I hope you guys enjoyed the interactive sessions. Hope you went to them, got something out of them. Something new we're trying here at IMN. It's not new for other conferences, but it's new for us. So hopefully you guys done that. And next up, once again, you're in track B, the property management track. You don't want to be in the property management track, you are in the wrong room. The investment and acquisitions track is on the other side in track A. Our next session coming up is a short name, growing a property management business. Short, sweet, to the point. So Natalia here is going to be leading that conversation, and I like that you guys are all seeing it's a nice little conversation. I'm sure people will continue trickling in as they make their way over, so please feel free to get started.
Should I stay here or should I go there?
Dealer's choice. Since there's space for all of you, you can be amongst the people if you'd like.
I like to be in the congregation. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today for How to Grow Your Property Management Business. I am Sally Locker, Director of Sales and Marketing at Hostiva. We're a full service property manager, and for the past 10 years, I would say one of the best things that has helped us grow our business is referrals. So to introduce our panel and go down the line, I'd like us all to share, like, what is the number one thing that has helped you grow your business. So I'm going to start with, we're on first name basis over here because I don't want to have to say Manuel's last name. So Manuel, Saga.
Hey, nice to meet you, everyone. I'm Manuel Arroyo. I am the owner of the Casa Golf Orlando branch, okay? Here with Steve that we have been together in this journey. And really happy to be here. And to me, in order to grow our business, what it was key is only one word, which is homeowner-centered. That's what made the complete difference that we have built in our culture, in the company. Everyone that gets into our company, all the new people gotta understand what homeowner-centric means to us. And we said always, like, a homeowner is 52 reservations a year. When a guest is 1 reservation a year, and maybe, and who knows, no? So every decision has to be thought based on
It's a really great point, right? And you see this all the time where it comes to the different OTAs, like who is our actual client, right? The owner, the traveler, the manager, the investor, everything's out there. So I'm going to hop over to Riley and do the table so we could, bounce back over here. So Riley from Cocoa Beach, Beachside VR.
Thank you. So I am the CEO and co-founder of Beachside VR. We manage like 300 units in Cocoa Beach. I own personally an additional 125 units as well. And then to kind of answer your question about like what's really been our biggest growth. So we've spent $0 on advertising. Everything's been word of mouth. But what has really helped us grow the most is actually caring about people and being a resource to others. So like so many times, like it's like, hey, I want referrals. What are you doing for that person that's going to get you that referral in the first place? So I try to look at it as like, how do I be a genuine human being that cares about other people? And then let the world just magically do its thing. Rather than kind of working in the background, how do I get more referrals? Well, how do I just be a good person? And then letting the world kind of flow everything into the way it happens. So like I said, we haven't really spent money on advertising at all. It's just been like a natural thing. And it's been a blessing, but my partner and I, we've always had the mentality, do what's best for other people, and then let the results just show for themselves, come to you, and not really try to over worry about like, man, I need to sign this much up. The right thing's gonna happen and the world's gonna work for you. You just gotta kind of allow it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I love that approach of life on everything. Right? So we like to be my therapist, that would be great as well. Humphrey, what about you? So Humphrey's from Super Hub, but you had a lot of time where you were head of supply at One Vine State, right? So whole different piece of growth. What was number one thing?
Yes, we had a super interesting time at One Vine State. We grew from 50 properties, 50 doors to 2,500 doors in about 3 years. And my advice is really understand niche marketing and then lean into understanding what the data says and follow the breadcrumbs and sort of work out what's right, as well as lean into automation, because that is the way to scale efficiently and effectively.
I think automation and data is a really big part that you sometimes forget is a part of growing your property management business, but essentially key factor that whether you're giving a projection or how you're talking to a homeowner or how you're giving them the data and the experience after the fact, right? Making sure we keep all of that together. So Sarah, from Vacasa to Portoro, another large one over there, what's the number one thing that, helped you guys grow maybe both companies, right?
Yeah, so I'll speak to Portoro right now. So I'm the Senior Director of Sales and Marketing at Portoro, and I think what is really helping us scale essentially is niching down. So you want to niche down in order to scale up. In the beginning, you think, hey, I want customers, and I'm really good at this everything, right? Everything. So it's hard to turn business down. But it's interesting. The more you can narrow your focus, the more opportunity actually opens up. So when I'm looking at adding homeowners to the portfolio, I want to know. I want to know, where do they eat? Who are they engaging with? Like, I know my ideal customer profile, and I know these interactions, and that's where I'm going to focus. So it sounds like basic marketing, but really take time to build out your ideal customer profile. And there's so many amazing tools now that you can pretty much automate that and paint the picture of your ideal customer so you know exactly what you're targeting and how to do it.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And honestly, after we introduced Kyle over here, we're going straight into exactly what you just talked about. Your owners, when do you make these decisions, right? So Kyle from Streamline, you work with tons of property managers and see tons of growth, right? And what do you think is one of the number one things people, your prospects or friends in the industry have done?
Yeah, Kyle Holmes. I'm at Streamline Vacation Rental Software. I've been in hospitality my whole life. Worked at Marriott. I'm back. I've also worked as a property manager, trying to scale business. I agree with everyone in the spirit of not repeating. I think word of mouth could not be talked about enough. It's just the most powerful way to get business. But in my role, I talk to a lot of folks that just seem a little bit unorganized with the homeowner acquisition process. So having a CRM in place that's organized where everyone's on the same page with, these are the kinds of owners we want, this is how we're going to go after them, and this is our spiel. And then beyond that, once you get the owner, start thinking about homeowner retention, right? You got the owner, don't just leave them be now. Making sure you're connecting with them on a regular basis and they're happy. You're always going to have turnover, but I think retention is a huge thing to be organized with.
And this kind of goes to the point where I say, like, what kind of owners won't you take? A 2-point question right on here, right? And I can think of ways each of you could go in this, right? But what kind of owners won't you take? And when do you make that decision, right? So as a company who you're growing and, you have this idea of exactly what you want for your life, right? Can you be that picky early, all right? Or do you grow really fast and a couple years later, you have to fire? Who wants to get started?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So I reckon that you can make up your mind about whether the owner is right for your business in the first 5 seconds of meeting them. And I think that being picky in the start saves you a huge amount of pain further on, and actually can really damage your reputation having to part an owner. So it's best to avoid it up front, even if it means your current business. So very quickly, as we will do, whether you get all that management to you in your business or not. And don't do it if you're unsure.
Right. I mean, that's really a great point. And I think that how do you find them? Right? Like, how do you become that authentic, honest person from the very beginning? Right? Jump to you on this, right? Because there's things that you said about when you brought owners in, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So like, for me, you just gotta understand like what your business is. I'm not in the luxury market, and I don't want to be in the luxury market. You know, that ownership of what an owner expects from you as a human being when you're in that like luxury market. So like for me, it depends on like what your company does well and like what you vibe with as well. So like, well, you want to work with good people, for caring people, blah blah blah. You know, like for me, the optimal client would be someone who gives trust right from the beginning. You know, like, hey, I'm trusting you with your revenue management strategy. I'm trusting you with this. As you just mentioned, like most of the time, right at the beginning, you'll know within 5 seconds of like, they're saying, well, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't like, you're going to spend 80% of your time helping 10% of your customers, honestly. So really identifying like, hey, like for me, I always joke around, and it's probably bad to say, but not having the clingy girlfriend and boyfriend kind of owner that's like texting you 10 times a day and like it's just not me. Like that scares me away. I want to run, you know? So like, and I identify it like immediately and I know like, oh man, this person's going to text me 10 times a day and tell me that, hey, did you see that? Like this price is $350. It should be $362 because 5 doors down has a place. Like, just no, like, trust me, I'm gonna make you a ton of money. Like, understand what I'm doing. We're professionals, and understand that I'm not meant for everyone. Like, those people, they need a person who manages 2 properties and coach of hosting with two other properties. They don't need a manager that has 350 properties. Right. You know? So I would say like. To answer your question, who I don't work with, it's like that like clingy individual that like if their home is their baby.
Right, and that's where it says the honesty is the 80-20 rule, like it's all in play and understanding that for yourself, right? You want to spend 80% of your time on 10% of your clients, right? You have to really find that. Sarah, you mentioned to me a big thing in like transitions from you with, you know, business transitions have gone a lot from, you know, focusing on quantity versus quality, right? Like, how do you say no? If you have all these people coming to you, how do you do that?
Yeah, I was just thinking too, like if you're not thinking from the start about retention as a growth strategy, you are not doing yourself or your potential clients any favors, right? You can't be everything to everybody. And so think about it as more of a partnership, right? I want to go after the clients in the home that fit our ideal customer profile. Like I'll say it again and again, but I also want to go after the owners that are willing to invest in their property and they understand that this is their actual property is where the value is. They're not going to like get rich quick off of their short-term rental, like that dream or that ship has sailed. And I'm not saying this isn't an amazing investment. I just mean that the long-term strategy and the partnership that you're creating with your property manager is essential for success. And so even if it requires you to slow down in the beginning, it will help you scale your business and define who you want to work with and then go after it. And keep in mind that retention piece, because essentially you could be bringing them on left and right. And if they're falling off the other end, you're just staying above water, right? Or trying to stay above water. So think about retention as a growth strategy.
At the end of the day, we all know this, right? Like hospitality is nothing but passive. It's not passive. Hospitality is like the complete opposite definition of that, right? So if you're looking for the EV1, find automation and things that we can add in there, right? But I don't know.
Can I jump in? So you're always going to have the 80-20 rule. So what you want to do is know what your value add is for those 20%. So then if it is making the upgrading properties in terms of style, decor, then you know that's what you excel at, so you can help those owners. And then the other kicker is saying no to someone is actually a really good growth strategy because it makes you exclusive, it makes people want you. So it can kind of make people
Yeah, to echo that, right, I'm thinking, you know, the 80-20 rule, but you don't want to create it where it's 99% is, you know, 1%, right? You don't want to spend all of your time on that one client that's maybe way outside of your portfolio that you were really excited about growth in the beginning and you brought them on and now your ops team is spread too thin or it just doesn't fit the model. And so, yeah, I think thinking about it from the start and yeah, knowing 80-20 exists, don't let it get to 99-1.
Maybe it's defining your ideal client profile, right? And understanding the organization around that, which say we want to go, you had mentioned to me a very CRM built back end, right? That really powers all of this for staying organized, right? With different structures that help you get these revenue.
Correct, and that's part of why we are with Casabo, because all these organizations with the CRM, with all what we have, we put order in everything, And complementing what the panel was saying is, you don't need to go and just say, hey, no, I'm not gonna sign you in, You just need to be overly transparent on the expectations. Usually the homeowner that you don't want to come in, he doesn't even have the right expectations. He always overthinks that you will overperform, you will do twice as much as revenue is what he thinks that he should do. So just being completely transparent since that second fight, that you notice that he's not gonna be the right one. Just be very, very transparent of the revenue that he's gonna make. How is your process for 50, 100, 200, or 500 homes that is the best suitable for all the organization, and that he's part of it. But in that moment, usually he wants you to stay and trust you, will remain for a very long period, And the one that is expecting something unachievable, he's just gonna go away if you are very clear since the beginning on the expectations,
Mm-hmm. And I think that is one thing, supply is in the market industry that we are at now, short-term rental, vacation rental, right? Supply is up, right? Demand is down. It's a very simple thing that's going on, right? So not every projection can now be like, we're gonna make more money, right? How do you have that conversation?
Right now, what we have focused a lot is that our homeowner makes the investment in three different steps. One is, yes, of course, what we do, the rentals that we provide, but even more important is the value of the asset, the protection of the asset. We call that we are protecting your asset that if today is valued at X, tomorrow is gonna be 2X in 10 years, but only if it's well taken care of. Only if you have the right maintenance people, if you have the right team, looking at that it's a safe place, all the protocols that we have, we need to make sure that we take care of your asset. That's more valuable because that's the equity that you are taking care of, not only the $3 or $4 that you are making in rental revenue. So that's how we have changed the full scope of our job in this tough market, and specifically at least in Orlando. That's what is really complicated to make a return on investment. But when at the end, when they trust you for the longer term, not only the next 6 months.
Our theme is definitely trust, right, going on here. Does anybody want to hop onto that now a little bit?
Yeah, I think something that I forget, maybe Humphrey said it. It's kind of playing hard to get, but it's more just setting a standard of this is the business I want to run. These are my philosophies. Some owners think 100% occupied is perfect. I disagree. If we don't meet eye to eye on that, let's not move forward together as a partnership. So making sure that the owner is educatable and on the same page with certain things like that is huge. Because they're just looking for someone to boss around. They're probably not the right fit.
And it's also about communicating your value prop. Because if they want to make the most amount of money, they'll do it themselves and cut you out because that will make them more money. So then communicating your value prop is the most important.
Right. I think that's a, interesting question. I've been wondering a lot, right? I'm very big into like the Airbnb burgers where there's like owner operators and co-hosting, like all these ways of growing your business are becoming like this new thing. Like, do we foresee a generation where owners take their properties back? Like, is there something going on with that? Or are we smart enough as property managers and the tech that's going on, like we can actually continue to evolve with this like owner operator super generation? Anyone that's stomach?
So in my personal opinion, like you go back as long as history has ever existed, there's always flows and changes in market. There's good times, there's bad times. Will some owners go back and take their units and manage it themselves? Yes. Will there be some owners that say, hey, I'm just gonna switch to long term? Yes. I just hate having that mentality of, hey, the market's slowing down. I'm gonna make less money, and that's all I'm gonna tell my owner. Hey, you're gonna make less money because the market's going down. Well, rather than doing that, real successful people survive and thrive in the bad times, right? So, hey, if things go down, well, what can I do to drive more traffic to my Airbnb or short-term rentals? Excuse my language. I don't want to offend anyone. Yeah, I know. Well, what ancillary fees can I do to add late check-in or late check-out, early check-in, selling upsells inside the property, doing concierge services? What can I do to add value? We have so many people that come in and out of our doors every single day. They're on vacation, they're spending money. Why are we not trying to look, how do we capture more of those dollars? It might not be in the accommodation fare, but it could be in additional fees that we can charge. I'm not saying the go fee on for every, like you turn on the AC, you got to pay for it. But no, it's time to be creative. It's time to do things that are different. It's time to, the biggest industry in this market is not the accommodation fare, it is the concierge service. More money is spent on concierge and outings and everything in this industry than accommodation fare. Statistically shown. You ask why there's a million guest experience apps, it's because it's the biggest market out there. And understanding that we can take advantage of, I had 6,000 people stay in my property last month. And if I could get every single one of those people to make my owners an extra $50, that's an extra $300,000 I could have generated for my business. Get creative, figure it out. And at the end of the day, do I have the exact answer? No. But you might say, well, shoot, you live on a dock. You could rent your boat out and you could make an extra $40,000 a year by buying a $15,000 pontoon boat. I don't know the answer for that, but you gotta get creative and you gotta survive during the downturns. Because if you're saying, oh man, all I have to do is like ADR, lower my rates, well, it's, in my opinion, a soft answer.
And we've heard of creativity, and it's like also having a passion about what you do, right? We can all have these answers. We can go in and, like you said, we can drop rate or we can do these different things with our properties, but care about what's in there and the creativity of how we're in the business of making memories for a lot of people, continue to make them. Anybody want to add on to any of those?
I would say when I was running a property management company, I could not believe how much more money people were willing to spend. So grocery stocking services was gigantic. We even had an IV girl come and give a bunch of hungover people IVs before they flew out on their flight. And we take little cuts from all of it. It really did add up with all those fees. But it was about getting to know your guests and having a passion about their stay and what they're up to in order to uncover those opportunities. If you don't do that, you don't know the opportunity.
Right, and it's building that ICP, that ideal client profile, now for your owner and your guests, right? So if all the guests that are coming to your house, right, are going on a bachelor party and stuff, and gonna need an IV solution, that's where you're gonna spend your experience, right? But if everyone's like moms with young kids, right? I would absolutely love for you to put groceries in there. Even more, don't even make me shop. Just tell me what I have and what I want to eat and put it in there, right? There's all these different solutions and it's getting creative and out there. If it's a revenue management for a second, just a little bit of a data nerd in that, but sorry, Sarah.
Something to add, like hearing everyone talk, thinking about it, it's a mindset shift. we're not in the property management business, we're in the experience business. And so we're creating memorable experiences for owners, for guests, and for our fellow colleagues and employees. So that's important to consider and to remember, like, we are hospitality and we're in the experience business. So as long as you remain like that is your core, you'll do well.
Agreed. So that was kind of, with revenue management, we feel like all in this that we're talking about, right? I'm here at, past life company, works revenue management consulting agency, and one thing we hear all the time is, my owner won't let me change the rate. My owner won't let me do that. And all the time, right? Like property management.
You fire that.
Right? Like, can't inspire that owner and property manager saying, well, what do you mean? It is your business. It is your name on everything. So how do you fire that owner? What happens when the tears fall out, right?
No, I think you pick up the phone to your best property manager mate and go, would you buy this owner from me? And you look for a property manager who might be a better fit than you are. And actually, if you look at your inventory, you'll probably identify more than 10% of performing listings. And being able to jettison those listings to other property managers who might have a different personality, they might be in the more local neighborhoods. Like, you can actually make your whole business perform better.
That is an amazing response, right? It's one of those things like define what you do well, become friends with those in your community. Everyone's healthy competition, right? But some people take other things. So instead of firing, right, you're helping do something hard for yourself and helping another business. Anybody else?
Well, it's a great idea. What you just said. I'm implementing that one.
Awesome. Well, we have about 17 minutes left. I think everyone will be able to submit some questions soon. So, are there any specific things when it comes to like growing your property management business that you guys kind of like, we're not asking, you want to make sure that people are hearing?
I think there is one important factor when you grow a business from being only probably 10, 20, 30 properties to something bigger. That first, obviously, we need to remember that this is only an experience business. No, you need to keep that in mind because when you get to be bigger, all the processes have to be thought on that. But also, I don't want to forget about the people that you employ. It's super key because at some point it's not going to be your two hands, the one that are doing the job. So you need to make sure that the people that you bring in is engaged and they feel part of this whole thing. No, you just got the first one that is right off the door just because you need fast a maintenance guy that we suffered a lot in the last 3 years trying to find the workforce. Better to wait until the right guy with the right culture that for us being homeowner centric, as I said at the very beginning, was super key and that they understood this and that they wanted to fight for the same values that we talk, no? Obviously, it's important that they get rewarded in the same way, no? As you scale, not everything is a scale. You need to keep giving good wages, good salaries, good benefits to the people, because if not, it's impossible to go if you want them to be with you, no? That's important.
Right.
One thing that I've really learned as I've grown is the transition from sales. If you're not doing I have an owner's relations manager, and it is the best hire that you need to do in your business. If you don't have one, it's literally hand over that job. But in my sales process, everyone wants to deal with you being owner. It's just, it is what it is. You're going to one of these booths, you want to talk to the owner, and communicating that, look, this owner relations manager is going to be so much better for you in getting things done, being productive, being more efficient. If you ask me to do something, I'm in meetings for 6 hours in a day, right? And I can't get to it. So hiring an owner's relations manager in terms of growing your business, because look, it's easy for the owners to grow your business for you, right? And I literally in my initial sales, when I feel like I have them sold, I always say, I just want you to know, like Stephanie's gonna take it from here. And she is so much better than me in every way on this goddamn earth that you will be so happy having her, working with her. And that transition is so important in growing your business because if not, you're spending, same thing, 80-20 rule, you're spending 80% of your time doing things that don't grow your business. And understanding what is your value, right? Is your value going and walking on the calendar for that owner that just texted you? Or is it being out in the field, doing whatever you need to do to grow your business, growing your networking, growing whatever you need to do? So like, I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't talk about is like making sure right at that sales meeting, you are telling them this is your route you're going on. Don't even like, that is probably the most important thing you can
Don't
say.
baby switch your owners.
Yeah, yeah, like, hey, have fun, you know, like.
So I think property managers broadly fall into two categories. Ones who are really good at sales, and ones who are really good at operations. And knowing what you're great at, but then building the team around you to compensate for your weaknesses is a really, really good strategy. What I found is that like the first question every owner asks you is how much money can they make? And the second question they ask you is what happens when something goes wrong? Now, that first question is all about getting within 10% of what they think is the right rate. And if you start off that with, look, I'm probably not going to be the option which is going to make you the most amount of money, then you kind of move towards honesty. But it's really about how you answer that second question, which closes you the deal. So how you take the owner on the journey of what happens if something goes wrong and how you're going to communicate with them and how you're going to help them put it right, I think is about building trust.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about winning that question, which is going to make them choose to go with you.
What's your secret sauce, right? And it's
No,
almost
there is no secret.
there is no
What
is it?
If there was, it's like I'd be a guru with a podcast and would be hosting. No, because every owner is different, and there isn't a one size fits all, unfortunately. But there are ways that you as a company can talk them through that. This is how you vet the costs. This is what I'm going to do. If the worst happens, what's the best number to contact? There was a load of soft stuff as well as hard stuff I can put in place, which means you've got more chance of winning.
Yeah, as a salesperson, right? So whether you guys are like the pros and my pro in business and I'm property management business, but I've been salesman for so long, and I'm hearing is like maybe we need to dive a little deeper into your discovery call, right? Like defining those questions of expectation of homeowners to decide if they are the right one. Jumping and assuming they are where you have to backtrack, right? All this panel kind of agrees on who's your person and how you move forward with each person. How do you let go of control, right? So I think Riley, the point that you had just made right now, like your owner relations manager, like it seems like you understood that transparent what was going on, right? But what if you were somebody, at any level, right, where you're the CEO, the operations person, you do everything that's there, and you realize I can't do it anymore.
It's very simple. You need to realize that you are not good for everything. No, it's could be sales or could be operations or could be finance and administration. But I was not in the industry for a long time. I'm only 5 years in the industry. But all my background was finance. So I run the revenue management, I run the administration part, but I let the sales and acquisition team do their thing. And I don't get involved with homeowners so much because I know they are better doing that. And you share that with the homeowner. She's going to answer you. I will make sure that the sales manager answers you in 1 minute. I promise you that she's going to answer you really, really quick. If you text me, maybe I'm going to take 3 or 4 hours because I'm in a meeting, I'm doing something, whatever. But they notice because of the culture, they notice that they answer in 1 minute. You need to make sure only that everyone is doing the thing. But yeah, realize that you are not good at everything. No.
Yeah, I love that. So we have some questions on here. Let's go with the top question we have on here. What is the panel's top tips for setting expectations with new homeowners?
I'll dive in, and I'm sure there'll be better answers behind me, but I think it's to really know your expectations and know what you're trying to do with your business. I speak to property managers that are, sort of stuck with paralysis by analysis, trying to be perfect. And then I speak to companies that have grown to 115 units way faster than they wanted to, and they're running around with chickens with their heads cut off. I'm sure they're having different conversations with owners, but I really think that if you just sit down and say, this is where I'm at, this is my philosophy, this is a business partnership. I know a great company that has a no asshole clause in their contract with owners. Like, we're going to be respectful. This is a partnership that I want to take care of your unit. I want to grow it. But the minute that line is crossed, then we need to find another solution.
Anybody else?
I mean, I'd say want to exceed expectations. So start low and give them straight whiskey, and then start building a relationship from that. Because they'll respect you more for that than telling them that you're going to exceed everyone else in the entire market. Because that's the thing to do.
Both on the revenue side, but also on the care side. It's not going to be perfect. What we do isn't perfect. There's a lot of different,
Messy business.
a lot of things that
Things are
go
going
wrong.
wrong. Things are going to happen.
Right.
And understanding that.
Exactly, and it's how you recover from those mistakes that are going to happen that matters. And so don't paint a picture that everything is rainbows and butterflies. Talk about what does go wrong and how you would react in that situation and what you have in place to protect that owner.
The next one, can anyone share what sales outreach you're currently doing to get help for our help?
Can I say this?
Yes.
So one of the most successful things that we found, like delighting, was doing something which they just did not see coming, because then they talked about it. And as you said at the start, the best outreach tool you've got is referrals. So you've got to get your existing hosts to talk about you and be like, holy cow, this company did this for me. And then in order to do that, you've got to think of creative ways to fund it, as it is a marketing expense. So one of the most effective things that we did was take damage waiver and then go into host homes and repaint those homes. So when they came back, they were like, oh my goodness, we've done what? It's a really small amount of money to pay, which has a huge benefit for the owner. It also improves the guest experience. So it's genuinely a win-win-win. And that creates the moment that host will talk about you. And I don't know any other property management company that's ever done that, like as a gesture of goodwill. So get people talking about you by creating a moment which delights them.
So your outreach is not outreach at all. It's interesting. I love it. And I think Riley had the same. He spent $0 on trying to get you on. But what I talk to people about is, if they find something that works, don't fix it. Brindley Beach, he still sends out snail mail and gets postcards in and puts a pile on his desk, and Doug will call you one by one. And other companies are doing massive email marketing with second homeowners in the area and then just trying to get lead generated from that. I don't think there's really a right answer that everyone can use, but try to find your answer.
Yeah, for us, it's been a healthy mix of, I'd say, social media marketing, right? It is one thing that you have to bring in and make sure that social media marketing is actually talking to you and answering what the owners are answering their problems and defining that in the marketing area. Snail mail, still real big for everyone. Homeowners love to open a piece of mail from there. And one that we have tried as well that I'd say shocking that it actually started to work with text messages. So well with homeowners that even to like larger scale things, like realizing that people are really enjoying text conversation. No one wants to answer their phone anymore these days. So that's what we see.
I've had an organic growth mindset during my entire career, and I find that a multimedia approach is the best approach because not everyone wants to receive information in the same way. And so, yeah, a combination of digital, of, cold outreach, going after your target market, but also switching it up, trying some things. there might be something that you weren't expecting and it really works for you. And so not trying something just because you're afraid or you've never done it before is the worst approach. There's a lot of trial and error and experimentation that goes with marketing efforts. So there's so many tools out there now that makes the digital social media marketing almost, 1 to 2 clicks. And there's some really great tools out there to drum up leads. There's so much data at your fingertips now. I use batch leads. That's a really good place to find homeowner leads, absentee owners. So that's been my recent lead source that I've been kind of nerding out about. And I love to, send out a campaign and then really watch the analytics and see what's working and what's not. But I'd be lying if I said that every campaign is amazing and it works. It doesn't, but you won't know if you don't try.
It doesn't at all. And I mean, I feel like I've been nerding out on this as well. So if anyone wants to nerd out with us, find us after the day, after this little social media market nerd out with you, because we need to go to the last question with the 3 lights on here. Big topic. What are the top 3 requirements for an owner relations manager when you hire them?
I will give at least one. No? The first one that I value the most in our homeowner relations manager. First, I was lucky that I found a person who was a homeowner. This was really important when we found her. She was already a homeowner. She understood what it was being in the other side of the table, no? So when she speaks to the homeowner, she knows what the homeowner wants, what's the answer they want. So that's really, really good. And then finally, she has the value that she looks at everything inside the company as the eyes of the homeowner. So she gotta come with maintenance, with reservations, with every other side of the company, fighting like if she's the homeowner.
The devil's advocate.
Exactly.
Let the company versus for the homeowner.
We have had serious fights between her and me about what are we giving to the homeowner or not, because she's actually sometimes fighting like if she's not part of the company. But that's this relationship that has enabled us to gain the trust of the homeowner. Exactly, because they know that she's gonna fight for them all the time, even if it's against me that.
No, totally. Everybody else?
I'll do mine with the 3. One is they can't be a pushover in the sense that like they have to, hey, this is how we do things. And I'm sorry, but it's a non-negotiable, because being a yes man only hurts you more than it does help you. Like we talked about, like, hey, like being honest with them up front about like what you do, but like, hey, an owner asks you to do something that's outside of your scope. Just say, I'm sorry, but that's outside of our scope. Like, we can't do that for you. I am not going to this inspection for you that like has nothing to do with what you're on. Like, no, I'm sorry. The second thing is just teaching them to pick up the phone and call. Because if you just hear sympathy in someone's voice, if something's wrong, say, you know what, we did mess that up and I'm sorry. They want that more than they do, honestly, a solution. Like, they really do. So that is the second thing. And the third thing that I would say is really just letting them, like, be themselves and not trying to train them, this is how you need to respond. Like, give them free reign, give them, like, because people like authenticity, and, everyone thrives in a different way. So, like, you know what, after my owner relations manager, I was like, oh, man, I want to say that, and they're laughing, and I'm like, okay, well, it worked that well, So, I'm not going to ask questions, but, like, just let them be themselves, because if you try to just say, hey, this is a solution, every person's different. I mean, we experience it with guest experience. Every owner's different. And like you said earlier, there's no like one size fit all. Literally just hear them and then trust your employee that they're gonna handle it with their best intentions. And good things will happen. So like giving them that trust and don't say, this is how you're handling it. Because guess what? The owner doesn't want, this is how I handle this situation. It's like, let me adjust how I need to do it.
So it comes down to business, and it is all business. And if you need to hire someone based on personality, you should speak to Steve. Steve would be the best person in the industry to help you with that. And I agree, you want someone who wants to talk to people. Because if they don't want to talk to people, why are they going to be your own relations manager?
Well, that is time for today. I know there's a couple other questions on here. I know the panel, everyone here would be more than happy to chat with anybody, one-on-one, myself included, to help everyone.
I swear to God, it didn't come from me.
What hair products does Riley use?
That's a secret sauce.
A secret that we cannot in the middle of the day, so maybe next time. Thank you, everybody.
Definitely.